podcast. Last week, we were talking brains and behavior with Dr. Amy Spolstra. Tonight, we're talking bankroll with my girl, Ashley Yates. Ashley, could you please introduce yourself and tell the people a little bit about you?
Yes. One, thanks for having me on. But I am Ashley Yates. I've been in banking a little bit over, I'm at that 10-year mark. I get to say 10 years now, so that's fun. I currently manage Columbia Bank in Coeur d'Alene, and I have been a lender for about 9 years. And I am at a bank that will be participating in the SBA 7A, the PPP plan. PPP, because there's so many acronyms that are coming out, like everybody. I'm going to just really try to focus on what I've either heard from one of two places, either directly from my company that will be participating or from the SBA. Because there's a lot of information from a lot of other different places.
There is so much information, especially, I mean, there are groups popping up on Facebook of people who claim to be experts. I've seen people, getting pay us $1,000 and we'll, submit your application and all this stuff. And so that has been one of the biggest struggles with, the entire last month and a half, right, is getting good information. And so that is one of the reasons that I wanted to create the People Smarter Than Me podcast, so that we can make sure we get good information. So I am so glad that you are here. You had said one of the first things that you wanted to talk about was sort of the zooming out, 10,000 foot view, the timeline on all of this, and whether or not people should be freaking out or if they can just take a breath.
Yeah, because it's coming in a lot of different. It is not just coming from fake news sources. The panic that is setting in, we're hearing from senators' offices, and sometimes the SBA themselves. There is so much panic around the time frame, and you better be calling your bank, and you better be getting in line. And if your application is not in, you're not going to get money.
Yeah, you're 1 millionth in line now because you waited an hour.
Because you waited 1 hour, you're not going to get the money.
And believe me, I have fallen victim to that too. I'm Ask Cassidy. I have been like having intermittent sweat attacks where I'm like, are we blowing this? Are we doing the right thing? I don't know. And so I'm going to be learning just as much as anyone is here tonight. So I'm very excited. So what you're telling me is we should not panic?
Stop the panic. Be cautious and be paying attention, and be ready to apply when your lender tells you to apply. But don't panic that if your application is not in today, because we can't even accept your application today, that you're going to miss out. Because they have not even opened the applications. I'm going to be really honest, guys. I was on a call at 3 p.m. today with my bank, and as of 3 p.m., which is well past 5 p.m. Eastern time, SBA has not even given the banks the underwriting criteria yet.
Got it. And this, just to be clear, we are speaking primarily about the PPP, the payroll protection one, because and correct me if I'm wrong, the EIDL, the disaster loan, is available, but that one has been for a little bit. The new one, the payroll protection one, that is what we're referring to right now.
Correct. So should we start there? Should we start kind of defining the difference?
Yes, that was one of my first things is what loan options are available and what is the timeline on them?
Okay. So the loan that we've heard the most about, because it's been around for a longer period of time, is the EIDL, Economic Impact Disaster Loan. So you'll hear some people.
That's not a brand new thing, right? Like that has been a thing.
Yes, that's what the SBA and the government does anytime there's any sort of disaster. So you'll notice, even if you go on to the site and you say, hey, is my area eligible? Which now everybody is, but before, you were seeing some state.
Oh no. Whoop, just a little bit of freeze. Come back. Okay. I hope y'all can still hear me. Ashley is nice and frozen. Let's see if she comes back. There. Oh, you froze for like a solid 30 seconds. So if you could repeat the part where you said the things, that would be awesome.
Good stuff in that 30 seconds. I said so much good stuff, and I'm not going to say it again now. So, okay, starting over. EIDL, Economic Impact Disaster Loan, can get turned on because your city had a flood or a tornado. It's been around for a long time. So that is a lending program. It's not new. You can do it right now, and you'll hear it be referred to as either the disaster loan or the EIDL.
Got it.
So that's its own thing.
Okay.
And then last Friday, the CARE Act, the stimulus package, got approved, and that created a different SBA product / loan, and they're calling that the PPP, the Payroll Protection Plan. So they're completely different animals.
Okay.
They're both serviced through the SBA, but they're totally different.
Okay, perfect. That clears that up.
Yes. So the reason there's a lot of confusion, though, is because quite literally the new stuff was approved last Friday.
Yeah. But we've been hearing about all this, the money that was coming in the stimulus package, and then it got hung up in Congress or hung up in the Senate, and then it finally got stamped, like you said, on Friday. So people aren't necessarily, they haven't missed the boat.
No, the boat hasn't even, it's not even at the dock yet.
The boat hasn't even gotten here yet.
Like it's off in the distance. It's not here yet. So.
Okay. All right, that's good. I think that's going to help put some people's minds a little bit more at ease. Could you clarify? I've seen the 7A or the A package, and then there's the PPP, the Express. What is the difference with all of these?
So PPP is just, I guess, the umbrella term.
Okay.
If the loan is going to come from what was approved on Friday, they're calling it the PPP.
Got it. Okay.
There are two different, routes that you can take, and unfortunately, it gets even more confusing because up until yesterday, the SBA had released nothing.
Okay.
So a whole lot of people, qualified people, really knowledgeable people, started creating what they thought best guess was going to be the program.
Right.
They started reading the documents, they started putting in there, they started comparing it to what the normal SBA 7A loan looks like. And then they just started sharing that with the masses.
Okay.
And then yesterday, the SBA finally kind of gave us our first piece of information, and a lot was different. So primarily, you're going, the loan is the SBA 7A.
Okay.
On the SBA.gov website, they're referring to the SBA Express essentially as a bridge loan that you can get up to $25,000 while you're waiting for the disaster loan.
Oh, okay.
Which is way different than what anyone's been saying it was going to be. Now, again, this is all just me reading SBA.gov.
Right. Which, I mean, if it's, I would say that's a pretty credible source.
I would hope so. There was also a lot of talk that the SBA 7A could be up to a 10-year term for the portions that you're not going to get forgiven.
Right.
And I just read on the SBA.gov website that the max term is 2 years. So
that's a big difference in payment.
Well, it's a big difference in a lot, but it just really comes in. I guess the biggest tip I could give people is if you're reading anything, Facebook post, flyer, email, and again, these are coming from really credible sources, but if it was timestamped before 3/31, I would pause. Because that means that they were releasing that information.
No. The joys of live video. She'll be back. She'll be back. She's going to hate the freeze frame, though, when she rewatches this. There she is. Oh, there we go. Okay, froze for a sec. You're back. You look beautiful the whole time, though.
I'm sure you were frozen on my end and you looked great.
Oh,
So,
thanks. Okay, so basically, if
Very
you're saying
studio.
time stamped before 3:30, then be careful about it because new information was released at 3:30, and now we have a little bit more to go off of.
3:31 yesterday.
3:31 yesterday.
Yesterday.
Okay. All right. This is very helpful. So and also what I'm going off of, some information that I have is older than that. So this might be wrong. Hey, that's why we have you here, right? So some very simple black and white on the PPP. What is that? You said you were seeing max of 2 years. That's obviously a huge difference in the payment options that people are going to have depending on how much they request. Obviously, this is going to change based on how much they get forgiven. But can we talk about the interest rate that I had seen was 4% max? Is that still the same?
Up to 4% right now. SBA is actually putting it at 0.5%, which is beautiful.
0.5, like 0.5?
0.5 is what they have it at right now, but can go up to a max of 4.
Okay, that's great. I like that. I also saw that with it, there'd be a deferment of payment option for up to 6 months. So you don't actually start paying on the stuff for a while. Is that true?
That's correct. And that's also only for what is not forgiven.
Right. Obviously, because if it's forgiven, you're not making payments on it, right?
Right.
Okay. That is, you know what? That's another great segue. What exactly is going to get forgiven on this? And how do people, well, let's start with that. What's going to get forgiven?
So speaking PPP, which means you're going to go through a lender, not the SBA.gov website.
Right.
It is. So if you look at the sample application that they released again just yesterday, they're going to take your average monthly payroll expense. And they even have, let's see, I wrote it down. They had how they calculated that, which was also different than what they were originally saying.
That is one of my questions. So there we go. Perfect.
Yeah. Oh my goodness. Here we go. So again, speaking from the application they posted yesterday, they said, if you are an existing business, it's going to be your average of 2019. That's how they're going to figure out your average monthly. There's some exclusions in there, so I wouldn't start doing it and thinking you have it right, because you have to exclude different payroll taxes. You have to exclude any individual who made over 100,000 for the year. If you're a brand new business, then you're going to use January 1st, 2020 to February 29th.
Okay.
If you're seasonal, then instead of using all of 2019, you can use February 15th to January 30th of last year.
Okay.
This is all different than what was originally being posted about, which was that most people were going to be using basically February 15th to June 30th of last year. That's what I was originally hearing. And now the SBA loan application is saying this otherwise.
Okay.
But again,
perfect.
I'm saying all of this, and we have yet to actually get the true guidebook as a lender on what we're looking at.
Yeah. Okay. That is very good. So a couple questions, I think, off of that one would be, I know a question a lot of people are asking is, I don't have any employees. I am a self-run business. Mm-hmm. Do my draws as an owner count towards payroll?
It's sounding like yes. They're saying sole proprietors, they're saying small business owners all count towards it. We've not gotten our eyes on if there's going to be exclusions. We've not gotten our eyes on, again, if you're a small business owner and you're just yourself, but you're making over that $100,000, is it just a tiered system or are you out? You get no help. So this is the hard part. Is I was really hopeful that when the SBA released everything yesterday, they actually said they were going to send the banks the stuff within 24 hours. Haven't. So I was hoping that I'd have a little bit more answers for you, but it is coming. So
I think
I'd
you
say
have more answers than we have. So we at least have that. You're doing great.
I'd say unfortunately the blurriest area seems to be for those sole proprietors. Don't have any employees. Where does that leave me? I'd say that's kind of the blurriest area right now.
Okay. Maybe it's been talked about, maybe it hasn't. But let's say I, had my payroll last year and then had a great year and hired more staff. Is there any calculation for having that you have hired more people, or maybe that you need to hire people in that loan?
So February 15th seems to be this magical date. We haven't yet heard a lot, but like even in terms of like the utility cost or the lease that you have, it all has to have happened before February 15th. So if you had 10 employees on February 15th and then you laid some of them off, but then you ramp back up and you're like, gosh, you know what? I need 12 employees. And if I could get 12 employees, I could make magic happen. It's sounding like that's great, but it's going to be based off of the pin.
Okay.
But again, we heard different things. We heard at first that it was going to be just 2019, but then they are saying it can be January into February. So it'll be nice once we get the guidebook.
Okay. I have we obviously have lots, I think, is things that I still want to touch on, but I'm just seeing a couple questions here. So I want to throw those up. To start this process for people, I know there's been some confusion whether they should go through the SBA website directly, if they should go through the lenders, because there's been a lot of speculation with the new things that have been rolling out. What is the best way to go about doing this?
So that's an easy answer because you don't have a lot of choices. If you want the disaster loan, you have to go straight through the SBA.
Okay, so the EIDL, the one that's been available, that is only available directly through the SBA.
Only.
Perfect. But the PPP,
you then must go through a lender.
You must go through.
You can't go through the SBA. You must go through a lender. So,
this is great. Love this. Yeah. Okay, and then Ali Koski asked, "Will all?" Let me ask you. She actually asked this one first. Are all lenders created equally? Is it advantageous to use my home bank or someone like Columbia if they don't bank there? I know they have to be connected to the SBA and do SBA lending, but outside of that, is there a better way to go?
For a regular SBA loan, I'd say all day long that they're not created equally. In this instance, to give you guys a little bit of a backstory, so from April 3rd to June 30th, we are going to process 15 times more SBA funds than the entire country normally does in a year.
All right.
That's all SBA lenders. That is how much volume we're about to see go through SBA. Okay. So imagine in your own business, if you had the right amount of employees to be able to serve your clients, serve your lending clients and do SBA, and then all of a sudden you had to serve 15 times more than that during a pandemic where you're also short on staff.
Yeah.
It's basically going to be a team effort here. So the first thing that they're saying, and they're highly encouraging banks and credit unions to do, is to serve your current clients first. Okay,
that is an important point, because it kind of, maybe you do want to go to your home bank then if they're able to do it.
Okay. Correct. Now there are some.
Go ahead.
Oh, there are some places that don't do SBA loans. Right. Now a lot of them are going to get kind of emergency access to be able to do them, because it's like all hands on deck.
Right.
To be able to process these. There are some online companies like American Express who don't do anything to do with SBA, and they're already going through the approval process to be able to try to streamline it, because they have the power, the ability to get this all online and streamlined and next day funding, and they've got the powerhouse to kind of do that. Mm-hmm. So in this case, my biggest recommendation: go to your home bank.
Yeah, and then plus they probably have your supporting documents. They already have access to your accounts. They they know a lot of the things already about you and your business, and that might streamline your process as well.
Yeah. And besides that, truthfully, I'd say have a little bit of patience. As I'm just telling you this, it's Wednesday night, you guys, and we don't even know what we're supposed to be looking at. We don't have any idea what the underwriting criteria is. And the government said, yeah, sure, Friday morning, start taking applications. And we can't. I legally cannot take a single application until they give me the underwriting guidelines.
Got it.
I can't. So for some banks, like Chase, the really large ones, they might be able to get this put online and go and enroll in within 24 hours. But for some of the smaller credit unions and banks, it's just going to take us a few more days.
Okay.
That doesn't mean we're not going to get the money. It just means have a little bit of patience and know that we're going to take care of our clients first before we go talk to non-clients.
Thank you. Okay, we will. There's some burning questions we're going to get to, guys. Don't worry. But on this theme, Allie had another good question. And will all lending or underwriting be done with the same protocol, or will it be like home loans where some banks can get more creative than others? Black and white.
Black and white. And it is the most streamlined. I mean, a normal SBA 7A loan application is like 18 pages long.
Here is, I found, I believe this is the correct one, but this is the Paycheck Protection Program application form. And it is, ladies and gentlemen, 2 pages with 2 pages of instructions. But yeah, that's not bad.
No, it's not. We're not. I mean, it's so basic. It's like credit check, this 2-page application. It's very black and white. There are no extra fees that banks or credit unions can put on for it. There's no different interest rates that can be given. It is, you follow the rules, point blank.
All right. One of the most burning questions in the Beyond Bones community was, can I apply for multiple loans? Can I get the disaster loan and the PPP loan? Does it affect? Are there any negative actions that will be, do I not get it forgiven if I get one of the loans? What's the word?
So yes, you can do both the disaster and the PPP. Now, however, if you applied, there's always a
however, right?
If you apply for the disaster loan and you tell the SBA, I am using the disaster loan for payroll, you then cannot apply for the PPP and say you're using it for payroll.
Because
now, the issue with that is that if you have to use the PPP for payroll.
Okay, so you could get the disaster loan not for payroll, not for even, honestly, what I would say, because the EIDL does not have as much forgiveness, is basically use the PPP for everything that you can use that for. And then if you need to go above and beyond that, then you got the other option for the disaster loan as well, right?
Yep. So EIDL disaster loan is, I'm a restaurant, and when I closed my shop down, I donated all of my inventory. So I'm going to use the disaster loan to stock up my inventory and get some food back in store. I'm going to use the PPP to hire my people back on and pay my rent.
This is tasty advice that we have here for you this evening, folks. Thank you. Actually, this is awesome. Okay. That is excellent. I love that. So yes, you can, but be careful what you use it for and how you communicate what you're using it for. That is excellent. Cassidy Bones would like to know, can you get the EIDL for new people not included in your average payroll and use the PPP for the existing payroll?
I would say in theory, because there are a lot more. You can use the EIDL for any sort of operating needs.
Got it. Okay. So really, okay.
It's not going to be forgiven. It is a loan. It's a loan. Right. It's not going to be forgiven. It's a loan. So.
Okay. That is solid. Walt Bones would like to know, what is in this for the banks? Is there, obviously, I know that you guys are an institution. You are a business in and of yourself. Is there a percentage that goes towards you guys? You said you can't add any additional fees or anything. What are you doing for all this? What do you get for all this work you're doing for us?
Get to watch my clients not go out of business.
Okay.
That's it. There, I mean, for my bank, I was on a phone call. We're literally asking people who have retired within the last 5 years who used to work in SBA to come back and work for us temporarily.
Dang, it's like the healthcare industry, man. You got people coming out of retirement for this.
Nothing. The interest is 0.5 and that goes to the SBA. We get nothing from this. There is nothing we're getting, but we're in a countrywide pandemic and this was enacted and it's our job, fiscally to do it. And
right.
I don't want to see my clients
go out of business. It ain't good for you. So
yeah, but that's it. There's nothing hidden we can put in this whatsoever.
Okay, perfect. All right, a good question is with the EIDL, there is the grant or the advance that is the $10,000 that you can get within 3 days, whereas the turnaround time for the EIDL, the rest of the money, I mean, I've seen timelines everywhere from 3 to 6 months to get that money. I assume that they'll probably try to expedite that as fast as possible. But in my reading, it's my understanding that let's say you apply for the EIDL, you get that 3-day grant, you get the $10,000, even if then you don't get the loan or you don't use the loan, you still get to keep that grant, that $10,000. Is that correct?
So I'm a little bit more, did I freeze again?
It's in advance, which means that it's your money, it's just coming earlier.
Correct. It is an advance. If you apply, they give you the $10,000 for whatever, I guess, weird reason. All of a sudden you get declined for the disaster loan. Then it turns into a grant. They will not make you pay it back.
Oh, okay. But if you do get accepted,
it's just say you got approved for $50,000. They already advanced you the 10. They're going to give you the 40,000.
Okay. All right. That is good. I like that. That's very clear. Kelly asked, EIDL will not be forgiven. So let's say the rest of that 40,000 or that 50,000 that you got granted that you asked for the EIDL, is any portion of that forgiven? No. Okay. That is a loan.
It's a loan.
Okay. Got it. Okay.
Still really low interest rate, and it can be a super long term. That's all. The term can be up to like 30 years, but it's all going to be based on how much you got. So if you need the money, it's a really, I guess, easy without having to provide years worth of tax returns and a low interest rate. If you need it, you need it.
Okay. And the EIDL interest rate is 3.75 I saw for small businesses. Is that true?
I have not heard that that's changed. So yeah. And then for nonprofits, it's a little bit less for nonprofits.
2.75. Yeah. Okay. Is there any penalty for early repayment of the EIDL?
Not that I'm aware of.
Okay. I also did not find anything like that. So that's good. And then for what is not forgiven of the Paycheck Protection, I also believe that's true too. No prepayment penalties for that either, right?
Right. Now, the big thing on the Paycheck Protection is it's going to be that 2.5 of whatever your monthly payroll expenses.
Yep.
You then have, from when it was originated, you have 8 weeks to use the money.
Okay.
And they're projecting that as long as you spend 75% of that on actual payroll, you can use the other 25% for utilities or for your lease. And then, ideally, unless you're really struggling to bring your employees back, the majority of what you get should be forgiven. But there are going to be those caveats. If you get all this money and then all of your employees have gone somewhere else, they all went and got jobs at Costco and Costco's keeping them on. And then all of a sudden they're struggling to get their employees back. That's where you're going to see some of the, forgiveness or not being forgiven.
Okay. Perfect. All right. Somebody wanted just clarification, and we already said it. I just want to make sure. So yes, EIDL only applied for directly through the SBA, and the PPP only applied for directly through lenders like yourself.
Yep. And start with your bank. Your bank should be taking care of you, or your credit union. If they let you know they're not doing it, again, don't panic, because you're going to start seeing companies like American Express and other more like online companies doing it. And truthfully, some of the local banks might become so overwhelmed that they kind of recommend maybe you go through some of those online retailers just to try to get you serviced faster. This is a grant. This is an all hands on deck. This isn't about who gets what. This is just getting the people their money. So
love it. We had somebody ask, how can they find an authorized lender for the PPP? They've been receiving emails from banks that say they will be providing the loan, but my preference is their local bank, but they don't see it as an SBA lender in Idaho. How can they find out who they can go to?
There is a district site for Boise, and you can go on there and find a list of SBA approved lenders. I will say the list is not super updated. You'll see, I mean, even Columbia Bank on the Idaho list is called Intermountain Community Bank, which is a bank we bought like 5 years ago.
Okay, so when in doubt, call them.
Call them.
Yeah. Okay. Okay, we had a good question here from Sharon. Can 1099 miscellaneous earnings be included as part of payroll costs?
Ooh, that's a good question, and I don't have an answer to that.
Okay. I was going to see if on the application anywhere or anything, but
yeah.
The like I said, the application is so straightforward. Like, so, yeah. I mean, obviously there's the description here, and what I will do, guys, is you know what? Ooh, hold on, check it out. I actually have the link for that I will post in the comments. There, bam. Okay, so the application form that I've been using, take this for what you will. I don't know exactly what the fast track bar information, like what that website is, but I do know that that's the application that I printed off. So if you want to look at the application and read some of the details on that, there is your opportunity to do that. I just posted that in the comments.
You said that was Sharon.
You know, say what now?
Was it Sharon who asked that?
Yes.
That's going to be something that's answered once we get the guide. So I can follow up with you and get the answer on that.
So hopefully within the next even 24 hours, that information should be available, right? Because you thought you were already going to have it.
Yeah, really hope so.
Okay, here's another great question. How about employees that quit due to health concerns? If their number of employees drops, can they hire new and not risk being penalized? Basically, can you replace an employee?
So from what we've read so far, it's just based off of you had 5 employees. So we want to see 5 employees. Yeah. We're not asking what their names were. I don't know if it's going to be Amy or Erica that comes back. It's going to be based off of the number, not the names.
Okay, perfect. Yeah, like you had 5 FTEs. You still got 5 FTEs. Okay. They are who they are.
Yeah.
Okay, perfect. Kathy just posted a link to Treasury site that has some forms and some more guidance there. Excellent. Also going to try to look back here, make sure that I got most all questions. If we have not answered your question, or if you still have something, please post in the comments. This is great. We're kind of getting to the point now of just live Q&A. We've gone through a lot of stuff. And so if you still have questions, please post them up and we'll make sure we get to them. Just looking back through here, wow, this is great. Lots of people on, lots of people asking good questions. Okay, through the banks, we already answered that one. Oh, collateral requirements. We have not touched on that. Collateral requirements for any of these?
Nope. 0, nada.
Cool.
We do know we will have to pull credit. What we're looking at when we pull your credit, we don't know yet.
To be determined.
To be determined.
Okay. Michael asked, what reasons could the SBA decline either of these 2 loans or reject you for some of these loans? Anything that we need to be avoiding or afraid of?
So one of the, I guess, quickest points will be take a look at the SBA application, because it asks you some pretty black and white questions on Are you past due on child support? Do you have any pending things against you in terms of like criminal activity? That's, I would assume, primarily what could get you declined is if you have to answer yes to any of those things. Even if you answer yes, I don't know if that's an immediate no or that's a maybe no.
Right. Yeah, Michael, go look at the link that I just posted. It's got the like yes, no. Like, have you ever, obtained a direct or guaranteed loan and been delinquent or defaulted on a current SBA loan? It's stuff like that. So go check out that application too. There's some good questions in there that probably aren't going to help your chances.
Probably not. Aside from that, though, again, we do have to check credit. I just have no idea what we're looking for. I don't know if it's going to be score driven, if it's just going to be making sure you don't have any, late SBA payments. We don't know yet.
Okay. All right. We had one. How about business owners with affiliated companies? Can each company apply? I assume that it would be based on company structure, not so much like owner. Like, let's say I own 3 companies, right? It's not based on me. It's based on per company, I would assume.
That's where I would go as well. It's per company. Now, if you, I guess the only caveat to that is if maybe your 3 companies are all sole proprietors, you have 0 employees. But
yeah, right. If they're all you in a different way, but each one would have its own cost, right? But each one would have its own, like if you have I sell widgets and I also sell cookies.
That's
Bones' widget and cookie store.
Yeah.
Okay. All right, still coming in here. Still more questions. This is great. We had one.